Hi, welcome to another Power Blast podcast. This week, let's talk about holiday stress, how to overcome it. At least a few ideas. Stay tuned. Hey there, welcome to the Power Blast podcast, the power of possibility, passion, and purpose. I'm Perry Tinsley, health and fitness coach, and we've had the holidays on us for a while, and we're that mode of Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's coming up, and with all the Black Friday things and all the other events that happen, there's a lot of stress. I mean, a lot of excitement, a lot of joy. But there's a lot of stress and overwhelm that people have. You may be feeling it at this moment. And you know what? If you're listening to this podcast after the holidays, it may benefit you for something in the future just to consider. But so today I go and I'm like, so what are the things that stress people out? What is it with the holidays? And I started brainstorming a list. So I'm going to read these through really fast. Buying gifts, donating, money for presents, whether to put Christmas on a credit card, attending holiday performance and events by the kids, family gatherings, shopping, Christmas cards, food preparation, baking and making food and treats, parties and events, trips and travel, wrapping presents, to-do lists, gaining weight, work stress, short temper, traffic, weather, overeating, insomnia, perfection, decorating, crowds and lines, cleaning, knowing what to get people, shopping for food, how much to spend on other people, whether the kids will be happy with their presents, hosting events, dinners, parties, family politics, and making sure everyone's treated fairly, working out how to visit everyone that you need to, what food to prepare, where to spend Christmas Day, hearing constant Christmas music, old arguments being brought up, someone drinking too much, home repairs and upgrades, having to work over the holidays, other people just being too happy and jolly. That was just a brainstorm. Okay, so no wonder people are stressed out. And so what I did, I thought this was kind of fun. I'm like, well, what are some things, some ideas that we can do to overcome stress? And some of these things maybe you've tried. Some of these may be practical. Some of them may not seem practical enough, or for you and your circumstances. So take it with a grain of salt. One idea. Here's a thing that we did years ago to take the gift buying out of things, but we still did something fun. This is one thing that our family did. We had my family and then my parents and my sister and her family. Every family threw in $200 into a pot. Now you can decide whatever that is. And what we decided to do, because we couldn't get together necessarily on Christmas Day, what we decided to do was, with $600, let's do something fun together. And so sometimes we went to a performance. Sometimes we went out to dinner. Sometimes we went and rented a timeshare getaway for the week. Just other things that events. We went to a comedy show, things like that. That has been really, really fun. Now this year, since we are able to get together, we decided to buy some gifts, but we put a little limit on it, $15. And everybody was to buy a $15 gift for an exchange, and it wasn't like that an adult would want, and something that you would want yourself. And then it's just going to be kind of a random thing of who gets what, and it isn't one of those gift exchange, and then you're kind of wondering, you get somebody where you're like, I have no idea what they would want. And then you kind of stress out about it. Are they going to like it? Are they wanting it? And if you're the recipient, are you stressed out about not getting what the thing that you want and stuff like that? I know people put a lot of pressure on that. And so that's just one thing that we did. And when we did the family thing where we put it all into money into a pot each year and just did something fun, people walked away every year. We remember the experiences. It's not like we'll remember like a gift we got a couple years ago, but man, we remember when we went to see the Blue Man Group. Remember when we stayed at Christmas Mountain. We remember when we went to tour House on the Rock. We remember when we went to see the Whose Line Is It Anyway people. Remember when we went out to that really cool restaurant in Appleton, Wisconsin. This past year we held off till summer. We went to a Renaissance fair. So we remember those events and the fun things that we did. The second thing that did is it took the pressure off of overspending. We put a limit on it. We budgeted for it throughout the year, and we weren't tempted by different sales and different things in stores to have to go out and go shopping, or to even think of, is this person going to like that? So that's just one idea. You can decide whether you want that. I know a lot of times people say, well, the gifts for kids, and we still did. The kids still got their presents and everything like that, and we still did gift exchange within the family. But as far as the larger family, that's one thing that we did. Another fun thing that I think people, at least just some tips that I have come across in just searching. One is just keeping a running tally of how often you say you should do these certain traditions, and then maybe consider not doing them. We broke away from certain traditions that we had done over the years, but they ended up stressing us out. And we just stepped back and went, you know what? Can we rethink this? Maybe there's 3 must holiday experiences that you have to do, and just stick to those 3 and not try to do it all, and schedule some downtime for yourself rather than, schedule downtime like a doctor's appointment would be another thing. And just recognize that if you're doing Christmas, a holiday meal, just make it that one meal. It doesn't have to be spread out over a ton of things, and that can save on your waistline, and it can save on the guilt, but it gives you the ability to just, kind of like Thanksgiving, it's a treat day, and you can have it, and then you're done with it. So that's one idea. I went onto my Instagram stories, and I asked some other people what they do, and I thought these were some pretty good things. A few people popped in. I'm gonna read some of these. Now I have to give a shout out to my friend Lori Yancey. I liked her first one. She said eggnog and cherry whiskey. Actually, she said, just kidding, but she was saying, just to remain in gratitude was one of her was her tip. Another one, these are all kind of the same. Another person said, make time for moments to meditate and utilize mindfulness. I know a lot of times that can get away from us, but when we dial it back, that can be a big thing. And another one is just to take time for oneself. I think that self-care is a big one that sometimes people forget because they're trying to do it all. Now, a few other ideas that I came upon. You could go on to Google and just find a bunch of different sites on tips. But one was, journal writing. One was just to keep things in perspective and make it about family and friends, and not get so stressed out on how things look and in the decorating or when you're hosting, and just being a perfectionist that way. I understand you perfectionists out there want to stick with that, and you're probably saying that's not for me. Considering past things, and that's what other things that may have been stirred up from other holidays, and maybe restructuring it. I thought that was good. Learning to say no. Oh my gosh, that might be a real gift for yourself. Learning to say no for certain things. Maybe it's no to attending certain parties and events. Maybe it's no to. I know some people said, you know what, I'm not going to send out Christmas cards this year. It's just taking too much of my time to do that, and I will greet and message and maybe phone call people a little bit down the line or something like that. That way, and just making it a holiday for you. I think that self-care that kind of came in some of the suggestions that we got today. So I don't know. I mean, what sort of things that have that you do? I know having a budget and sticking to a budget can be really important and really impact kind of the after holiday shopping stress, especially when all of a sudden after the holidays, then there's things on sale that you're wanting to also get, and it's adding to that, maybe to the comfort and great things, but then it's adding to those stress. So it's kind of going through and budgeting that. That's one thing that I've done over the years is as I get my paycheck, I have just a little account that just not even a lot. I think it's like $20, $25 that goes into that account. And I just let that, maybe it's called a Christmas fund or whatever you want to call it. But I know a lot of times that little bit can really add up and take the pressure and stress off of coming up with things when the time comes. And I also use it not only as a Christmas fund, but it's, a birthday, it's kind of the special events sort of thing. So those are just some tips that came to mind. I'm sure you thought of a bunch of other ones, and I'm sure you're, probably wanting 50 other tips on doing that. Meditation, I find a big stress reliever, and it's kind of maybe an understatement, but it's this deep breathing, this in through the nose, then holding it for a few seconds, and then blowing through the mouth for about, let's say in through the nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, blow out for 5 seconds. I don't want to mess up with the microphone here, but you get the idea. Maybe even doing that 3 or 4 times, shrugging your shoulders up and holding it and just letting it down. That's another one. Drinking lots and lots and lots of water. I know a lot of times we get really dehydrated. We don't realize it. And that's a big tip. I know it doesn't sound like much a stress reliever, but man, when you're keeping your organs hydrated and your body hydrated, especially when we start doing celebrations and going to parties and having foods that are just, zapping us with salt, you got to flush that stuff out, and you got to do that with water. So there's some tips for you for holiday stress. My wish for you is to not be stressed over the holidays, but you know what? If any of those things from when I read it earlier real fast to you made any sense, and you could see why the holidays can kind of squeeze in upon us a little bit, even though it's a great, joyous time. Hopefully those will help. That's all I have for this week. I so appreciate you for coming on and, being a subscriber of the Power Blast Podcast. If you're not a subscriber, you can go over to powerblastpodcast.tv if you want the video version, or powerblastpodcast.net if you want the audio version. Either way, you can just go to iTunes and just search for Power Blast Podcast. And while you're there, please give an honest rating and review. It helps other people benefit from this. I hope you have a rock star holiday. I hope you can apply some of these tips. And you know what? If you find that any of these tips are valuable, please pass them on, share it, message me, perrytinsley@gmail.com, and we can chat more. You absolutely rock, my friend. And as always, remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.